Hello everyone, I am Selvaraj Sanjay from ENH iSecure. Today I'll be presenting the Okta Org2Org Integration using OIDC. Before we dive in, here is a quick overview of today's agenda. First, I'll outline the problem statement we are looking to solve. Then I'll walk you through the solution we are proposing. We'll cover the prerequisite needed for this integration. Next, I'll explain the integration flow at a high level. We'll look at the working flow to see how authentication happens in practice. And finally, I'll summarize the key benefits of this approach. Let's get started with the problem statement. In this scenario, employees from the WIC Okta tenant need to securely access customer-facing applications that are hosted in the CIC Okta tenant. Currently, users must manage separate accounts and credentials across these two Okta organizations, which can lead to confusion and a fragmented login experience. This separation makes it harder for users to access the applications they need quickly and efficiently. From an administrative perspective, this fragmentation increases complexity in managing access policies and maintaining security standards across multiple tenants. Moreover, without a centralized authentication mechanism, ensuring consistent and secure access across tenants becomes challenging. Our goal is to enable a seamless and secure single sign-on experience where users from the WIC tenant can access CIC tenant applications using their existing credentials, improving both security and usability. To address the challenges highlighted in the previous slide, our solution implements federation between the two Okta tenants, WIC and CIC, using the OpenID Connect protocol. In this configuration, the WIC tenant functions as the identity provider responsible for authenticating employees using their existing credentials. Meanwhile, the CIC tenant acts as the service provider, hosting the customer-facing identity bank application that these employees need to access. The primary objective is to enable WIC employees to access CIC-hosted application seamlessly through OIDC federation. When a user attempts to access the application, the authentication request is redirected from CIC to WIC. Once authenticated in the WIC tenant, the user is granted access to the application within CIC, eliminating the need for separate login credentials. This setup not only enhances security by centralizing authentication in the WIC tenant, but also improves user experience through seamless single sign-on. Before starting the integration process, it is essential to meet a few key prerequisites to ensure a smooth and successful setup. First, administrative access to the both Okta tenants, WIC and CIC is required. This access is necessary to configure applications, manage groups, and set up identity provider settings in both environments. Second, a clear understanding of the roles each tenant will play is important. The WIC tenant will function as the identity provider, while the CIC tenant will act as the service provider. Next, within the CIC tenant, a user group must be created and linked to the target application. This group will be used to manage access for federated users originating from the WIC tenant. Lastly, ensure that test user accounts are available. These accounts will be used to validate the integration, confirming that WIC users can successfully access the application hosted in the CIC tenant. Having these prerequisites in place helps streamlining the integration process while ensuring secure and organized access management. Before proceeding, let's walk through the step-by-step process for setting up the org-to-org integration between the WIC and CIC Okta tenants. The process begins in the WIC tenant, where we create a custom application specifically for the org-to-org integration. This application acts as the authentication bridge, allowing users from WIC to access resource in CIC. During the setup, we select OpenID Connect as the sign-on method, as it offers a modern, secure, and standards-based approach to authentication between Okta organizations. While configuring the app, we provide essential details such as the application label and the base URL of the CIC tenant, ensuring authentication requests are correctly directed. Next, we move to the CIC tenant to configure the identity provider settings. Here, we add new IDP and choose OpenID Connect as the protocol. We then enter the necessary information from the WIC tenant, including the Okta domain, client ID, client secret, and relevant endpoints, so CIC can securely communicate with WIC for authentication purpose. Once this information is entered and saved, a trust relationship is established between the two tenants. Following this, we configure a routing rule within the CIC tenant. This rule specifies which users or authentication requests should be routed to the WIC IDP, ensuring that federation is applied only to the appropriate users. Finally, we assign the application to test users or groups and validate the setup. This involves confirming that users from the WIC tenant can successfully authenticate and access the application hosted in the CIC tenant. By following these steps, we enable a secure and seamless single sign-on experience where WIC employees can access CIC hosted applications using their existing WIC credentials, centralizing authentication and enhancing user convenience. This slide depicts the end-to-end authentication flow that occurs when a WIC employee attempts to access the Identity Bank application hosted in the CIC tenant. The process begins when the employee navigates to the application's URL. The CIC app receives the request and initiates an OpenID Connect login flow by redirecting the user to the CIC Okta authorization server. On the CIC Okta login page, the employee is presented with a Sign in as employee option designed specifically for users from the WIC tenant to log in using their existing credentials. When this option is selected, the authentication request is securely routed from CIC Okta to WIC Okta using the OpenID Connect protocol. This redirection includes key parameters such as client ID and redirect URI to ensure a secure and traceable flow. The user is then taken to the WIC Okta login page where they enter their credentials. Acting as the OpenID provider, WIC Okta authenticates the employee. Upon successful verification, WIC Okta issues an ID token and redirects the user back to the CIC Okta. The ID token contains claims about the authenticated user, including identity and profile attributes. CIC Okta validates the token to confirm its authenticity and verify that the user is authorized to access the application. Once validated, CIC Okta grants access to the CIC app and the employee is able to use the application. This authentication flow ensures that the user credentials and policy remain centralized in the WIC tenant while providing a seamless single sign-on experience across tenants. By leveraging OIDC, the integration benefits from modern, secure, and standards-based authentication with token-based trust between the two Okta environments. This integration approach delivers several significant benefits. Seamless single sign-on. Employees from the WIC tenant can access CIC hosted applications using their existing credentials, resulting in a smooth and unified login experience. There is no need to manage or remember multiple accounts. Centralized authentication. Authentication is managed entirely in WIC tenant. This centralization ensures that security policies such as password complexity and multi-factor authentication are consistently enforced for all users accessing CIC applications. Secure and modern protocol. The integration leverages OpenID Connect, a secure and industry standard protocol. OIDC provides robust security features, including token-based authentication and encrypted data transfer, which helps safeguard user identity and application access. Just-in-time provisioning. With just-in-time provisioning, user accounts in the CIC tenant can be created automatically the first time a WIC employee logs in. This reduces manual user management and ensures that only active users are provisioned as needed. Flexible integration option. Okta Org2Org and OIDC Federation supports a wide range of integration scenarios. This flexibility allows organizations to adapt the solution to their specific business need, whether it's for mergers, acquisitions, or simply providing cross-tenant access. Overall, this solution not only enhances security and user experience, but also streamlines administration and support for future scalability. Thank you so much for watching this video. We would also love to connect with you on other platforms. Be sure to follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And if you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you never miss an update.